Hello everyone. Gonna take you through a walk through this garden. We have several sections. My dad and my uncle used to garden this area, but now my brother and I do it. This first section here, we have 3 rows of green beans. Looks like he's just tilled it up and now he's working the dirt around the green beans. They're starting to come up. But these are the first 3 rows here. I have never canned before. Canned green beans, that is. This will be the first year I'll try canning them. I typically just pick and just freeze them. But we should get a good harvest out of this. They look pretty good. Looks like he's dusted them with the little bug repellent of some type. While he does that, I'm gonna stroll through all parts of the garden. This second section here, we have peppers and okra. Let me get you a better angle here. Yeah, with the cages, those are peppers. I planted 2 jalapeno and the rest of the hot peppers that my brother and his wife really like. Here on this landscaping fabric, we've planted okra, which hasn't done too well. Looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plants. And for those of you that don't know what okra looks like, let's see, here's a good one. That's okra. But we'll finish doing our walk through here. And like I said, we have 2 rows of okra, but we're gonna have to replant those. This middle section here with the straw is cantaloupe. And we've put a makeshift fence around here to try to deter the raccoons. They got into the cantaloupe last year. And these small greenery here, those are greens. Look like turnip greens that are popping up everywhere. We had turnip greens in this section last year, so they're coming up involuntarily. And this is our cantaloupe once again, and you can see the blooms. Those yellow flowers will turn into cantaloupe. Gonna move over to this section here is corn. And we have more turnip greens coming in to the corn. But it's a long row. And that plant right there, that's squash. We planted 4 more squash and zucchini plants. And I'll take you through that aisle also. Gonna keep walking down this corn aisle. Corn's doing really well. We have another section where we have corn also, and I'll take you through there. We're just strolling through the garden to let you know what we planted. And like I said, this section here is squash. Actually, there's one coming in. See that yellow? That's yellow squash. The flowers, and then it turns into that long squash. This section here, we have 2 rows of onions. They're basically been taken up by weeds, but that's fine. We'll just weed through and pull the onions up. And these are the onions here, in case you didn't know. That's how we can tell it's an onion underneath there. We like to leave them in the ground a little longer because the longer you leave them in there, the hotter they get. This whole row here are tomato plants, and this one here is not doing too well. Not sure what happened. But the rest of them are looking pretty good. Pretty good. And here's another section where we have peppers and tomatoes. The far end are tomatoes. But I'll walk down that aisle in just a second. I just wanted to give you an overview. And this section here are cucumbers. And they really have a lot of blooms on those also. I'll take you down the aisle in just a second. Hope I'm giving you guys a really good camera angle. I'm a novice, so bear with me. This section here are sweet potatoes. Can't remember when we planted those, but it probably at least a couple of weeks after we planted this row here of white potatoes, which aren't doing too well. They've been taken over by weeds, but we're sure we have some potatoes in the ground. Just don't know how big and nice they're gonna be. We planted the potatoes here last year, and they did really, really well. And I don't see any blooms. These are the potato plants here. And they'll get flowers and blooms on them, and that lets you know that their potato is ripe in the ground. But like I said, it's not looking too good. So we'll just keep an eye on it and see how it goes. Sweet potatoes are looking pretty good though. We started using landscaping fabric on certain sections, thinking it would be easier to maintain, but I'm not too crazy about it because it makes the work a little harder for me pulling the weeds on the side of the landscaping fabric, because he can't plant or till as close to the fabric because he doesn't want to tear up the fabric. And as you can see, the cucumbers are starting to really vine. And you don't touch the cucumbers as they're starting to grow and vine, because you can kill the plant. I made that mistake a few years ago, not knowing, and actually killed the plant trying to put the vine back into the cages. So just beware if you're new to gardening. Like this vine is coming out, don't touch it. And this one is loaded, as you can see too. Like the little yellow flowers, those are going to be cucumbers. So everything's doing well through here. These are the tomatoes once again, all caged and staked. And these are eggplant. Something's been eating them, so he's put a dusting of protective layer to keep the bugs off of them from eating them. And we also have another section here. Some more cucumbers. This is a mustard green. It's coming up involuntarily because we had mustard greens here. Here's another section where we planted our cabbage. And we planted the cabbage and the onions a long time ago, and as you can see, cabbage isn't doing too well. But my brother seems to think that it'll snap back. This one's trying to form a head, so we may get something out of that. And we also have another roll of onions here. As you can see, these are onions. And that tree here is an apple tree. I don't know. I'll get a little closer so you can see the apples. Now last year, I probably picked about 5 bushels of apples, I believe. And I made applesauce and made a few apple pies. I canned applesauce. I still actually have about 16 jars of the applesauce left. Let's see, this is a better view here. You can see the apples. We've been getting a lot of rain, so we haven't had to water the garden because Mother Nature has blessed us. There's another roll of onions, and this is a turnip green. It's a pretty turnip green. But this is another roll of continuation of the cabbage, and I don't know if we may get a head or 2 out of it. I believe we planted like 16 heads. Another roll of onions, as you can see. But like I said, we let those stay in the ground a little longer. And this is the last section of the garden here. This corn is really, really growing. Actually, I think it's grown a lot since yesterday. I'll give you a long view in just a second, but I wanted to take a picture here or show you this pear tree. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with the pears yet. I may make some pear preserves. Not sure. And then this here is a pecan tree. And there's no pecans on here yet. That'll be a little later. Drop my glove. But we're going to walk through here and look at this squash and zucchini. Looking pretty good. And I typically stir fry the squash for my dad and my uncle. They like it cooked in bacon grease and onions, seasoned with garlic powder and red pepper or black pepper. And as you can see, we have a zucchini here. For those of you that don't know how they grow, it's a zucchini. Just waiting for it to get bigger. Several on there. Yeah, there's 4 blooming on that plant. So we'll be picking it soon. I also like to make zucchini bread. Yeah, but everything's looking good. This is the first time my brother and I have planted corn. My dad used to plant the corn, but he hasn't been able to do a garden in a while, so it's just me and my brother right now. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. I'm just starting out this channel and just want to keep a tradition going that was instilled in me when I was younger. Now granted, when I was a kid, I did not enjoy working in the garden. I liked the food, but I did not like working in the garden. But as I got older, I appreciate what my parents and my grandparents instilled in us, working with your hands and seeing the fruits of God's love. So if you like what you see, please like, subscribe, and pass this channel along. Thank you so much for going with me through me and my brother's garden. Have a good Sunday. Be blessed.